real fast. Climb real fast, don't look down. All aboard before Motown. Leverage long, the crowd goes wild. Ignore.
Goes the yield. Oops, there's the field.
Up like dreams, down like fraud. The track resets, applaud the gun.
It's once in a lifetime. Every time. Front row seats to the same old climb. Pump the thrill. Sell the top. Welcome to the end of the drop.
Climb real fast.
Spin that wheel, it's all a show. Up or down, nobody knows. Pals wink like artists grin. Whispers say the fix is in. Watch it turn, feel that sway. They make the rules after they play. Click clack goes the circus rate. Land on hope, inflate the fate. Rig rotation, house of spin. They always win. They always win.
Spinning sugar, sticky, sweet. Printed magic clouds inflate the ride till empty hands hit the other side. Fluff it up, pump it loud. Candy cash right from the cloud, but taste it twice and you'll see through. It melts away like the belly too.
Free treats, they shout. No cost, no end.
Until the buzz comes back again.
It's a rules all change and the answers go. They pop up quick with a confident grin. Say inflation's fine, then vanish again. Hit regulator pop, blinking they're gone. Spinning their lines while the circus rolls on. They promise control, but it's just for the screen. Cotton candy words and a death machine. One says rates will never rise. Another claims there's no surprise. Juggle charts, they shuffle blame, but somehow still stay in the game. Puff of smoke, a paper policy flip, then they're back down. No scoreboard here, no keeping track, just confetti dreams and a paper stack. Regulator pop, watch 'em appear, selling calm while they steer unclear. Every miss just draws a cheer.
inside I see your fate. Rates may rise or maybe wait. Soft landings form ahead. The signs all point to what I said. Crystal ball in chairman's hand, data dependent on demand. Tighten here but ease back soon. We forecast truth by phase of moon. If you're confused, then that's the trick. A moving target hides the pick.
new market. The city's waking up, and so are the charts. Every move on the screen has a story. Sometimes it's hype, sometimes it's fear, sometimes it's nothing at all. But if you look close enough, you'll see the rhythm behind it. No drama, no magic, just patterns, pressure, and people trying to make sense of it all. So let's take a look at where we're at and where this thing might go.
What's up, friends? How's it going, NVK Master? What's up, friends? How's it going, NVK Master? Let's post this real quick. Let's post this real quick. Let's chart, do we? What's up, Vivachi? We got scammed. Let's chart, well, what's up, Vivachi? We've gotten scammed a lot. We got scammed. Every time Litecoin's gotten close to breaking out, the market has taken a giant crap. Every time Litecoin's gotten close to breaking out, the market has but yeah, I mean, I don't know, it's weekend, not much trading volume. Bitcoin dumped a little bit after the close. Not much trading volume. Bitcoin yesterday, and then is rallying back up. Probably gonna fill the CME gap. We still have that one at 117-ish thousand, like 116.5. I think that's probably gonna fill. We just need to break out against ETH, XRP. Litecoin just needs a move in isolation right now against the rest of the market. Volatility is coming. It's super compressed. Let's look at the shorter time frame, like price volume indicators. Meandering around sideways. Do have higher lows on CMF. The higher time frame. Trend and on balance volume is still intact. It just rolled up on the 12-hour CMF as well. What's up, Ceiling Fan? Do I think this cycle ends late 2025? Now I feel like it extends into 2026. Most likely. And to finish this year, I think Bitcoin would just have to go vertical right now. It doesn't look like that's gonna happen. This cycle is so weird because we've had massive like rise in equities, S&P 500's at 6,500. All major equity indexes are rising to new all-time highs. The Russell just started to break out, which is usually an indication of rotation into smaller caps and then from Bitcoin to altcoins. But this Russell chart kind of looks like the altcoin others chart. Like it's very similar. Altcoins are slightly lagging. I mean, it's not a perfect one-to-one correlation. Russell 2000 started rallying first in 2021, but altcoins quickly followed. Let's make this bigger. And it just would be very weird to me if like Bitcoin's only rallying on price momentum, inflation, just excess liquidity entering all financial assets. So it's not rising on any sort of fundamental strength. It's actually like losing dominance. And it would be very hard for me to believe that the market would top without rotation, like massive rotation to altcoins. At least a select few, maybe the few that have ETFs. But if this is going to continue to be a leading indicator for others, these rallies were slightly, like a month or two apart. But it's a good sign that the Russell's retesting its prior all-time high practically, and looks like it'll break through. Russell should have more upside than the larger cap stocks. Same with altcoins relative to Bitcoin. I've showed this a lot, but ETH had this quick rally and everyone was excited about it the last month. But ETH also is similar to XRP in search interest or sentiment. We actually made a higher high in search interest for Ethereum, and price did not make an all-time high. This is the same thing that happened with XRP. There's a massive amount of social media interest, but no real new all-time high in price. And Litecoin is at the low. Oh, this is not a good. There's some other LTC that people search for. Litecoin's way below its 2017 peak in search interest. It's like 1% of that right now. And price is grinding up right underneath its long-term level of resistance, that's rejected price. So it's kind of actually in between. It was rejected so many times here, like $100, 105. And now it's consolidating between these two areas where it was rejected back in 2022, last year, 4 times. And so I think this would hold. And if we're going to break out here, we should finally get that like 50% weekly candle or even higher. But again, this is the same exact setup for every altcoin that's outperformed everything else for the cycle. And I show this every time, but I'll just show it again because there's not a lot to talk about. Wanted to add LTC USD on this. Where is it? This last cycle was more compressed in time, but most of the cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, Litecoin, even XRP, massively outperformed Dogecoin early, and things like Matic that eventually rallied 100x like Dogecoin did. Those are the latest cycle ralliers were oftentimes the biggest winners. That was the same case in 2017. Tron rallied like 100x. Same with rate blocks. Rallied like 100x. That's now called Nano. After everything else kind of already pumped. So usually the latest stage ralliers of the cycle have the highest percentage returns for the overall total bull market. And we think that's going to happen with Litecoin. Not really from just technical analysis, because I think alone it probably wouldn't make sense. I wish we could still see the on-chain data, but long-term holders last time when we had available data to look at, this will be old. Use hodler's balance instead. I think they got rid of Litecoin data, but it's at all-time highs. There was a like $2 million coin drop here because Binance like moved coins around, but really if you adjust for that, the supply held by long-term holders relative to the circulating supply is at the highest percentage it's ever been. Demand on the transactional side for LTC is the highest it's ever been. There's no other coin that looks like this, where transactions continue to increase, and this data is old as well, but it's actually slightly higher than it was of this last data point. And it's not just this, it's the expectation of future growth that's exciting for Litecoin because it has the dominant network effects. It's the fastest growing proof of work chain because of those network effects, and that whenever Bitcoin becomes expensive, like the natural habit for the market is just to use the second dominant Bitcoin chain. So that will continue. And so while all these other chains have almost no, they have no historical precedent for growth, there's no reason why the market would ever choose to use something like Dogecoin, maybe Zcash or something for privacy, but you're sitting at like 2,000 transactions a day. It's not, with no evidence of adoption, and it's competing in a heavily crowded like privacy sector where there's a bunch of new coins like Zano or Xano. You've got Monero. So there's nothing really in the proof of work side of this market that shows any evidence of growth. It's really only Bitcoin chains that dominate the proof of work market sector, and Litecoin dominates heavily right now. Right, like Bitcoin and Litecoin combined take what, like 95% plus of the market share? Maybe 99. if you adjust for like total transaction volumes. And what's most likely is LTC head up towards the same transaction count as Bitcoin, and over time absorb higher value transactions so that the total transfer volume on chain for both BTC and LTC probably gets to about the same level. $10K is exactly what you need. Yeah, above 4K. Break even on LTC, down 20% on all holdings overall. That's interesting. That's kind of like how my friends are. Like in real life, down on most things, but even on Litecoin. But Litecoin hasn't even performed yet. It's just others got way inflated. So if you bought during the last rally or midway through, that's typically when new people will join. Is like midway through these rallies, 3/4 of the way. And Litecoin didn't go up as much, so it hasn't gone down. Everything in the Litecoin. Not financial advice, but there's just way more upside here with way less risk. You love the Dogecoin community, but it's garbage. Yeah. Same view. So my view hasn't changed. I like Bitcoin early on because I thought the market for Bitcoin would grow. I didn't really foresee the growth of this huge, giant, biggest casino we've ever seen in the world develop. But I thought demand for permissionless money would rise. And then Bitcoin blocks became full. It had no more room for growth, fundamentally. So just bought this. But yeah, I don't know. No other proof of work chain seems compelling. I think you take way more risk because you're gonna bet on some unproven technology, like with new chains. I know that's what the market likes to do. I don't get it. In crypto, it's like there's this new hype chain with no users, with no proven market, and everyone wants to buy it, and the price goes up a lot because it sounds exciting. Like the fantasy is often way better than the reality. But then for a proven market, where the risk is way lower, like if this were, if this was an equities market instead of a money market, they would not price all these like brand new companies with just a strategic vision and no business plan like people price the cryptocurrency market. If Bitcoin and Litecoin were companies, and you could see that LTC as a company was growing rapidly and had the leading growth on all these platforms for users and adoption, and you'd see that Bitcoin's losing market share over time, like the company BTC, but it's trading at 100x premium, everyone would be buying Litecoin if this were not a monetary market. It's like, oh, way more potential, way more consumer demand is evidenced, and there's good reason for it to continue. Like, the price of Litecoin would be way higher than Dogecoin and all these competitors. But this market is really driven by retail money and narratives. Memes. And who can pump, like what big money is gonna pump whatever coin? That's what people think about. Like who's buying coin next? Which institution's gonna market and pump some shit coin? There's like zero focus on fundamentals. Even though eventually long term that's all that matters. I don't know how that, well I do, but it's crazy how this market is dominated like 90% by technical analysts. Pump and dump, hype. Because all that stuff will be meaningless. Still be useful to some extent, but pretty meaningless long term. Yeah, I think people are like lazy, and there's no way that you actually have to do work, mental work, because you just go to YouTube and you'll pull up like a Bitcoin podcast, and you'll just get all this stuff. Bitcoin on-chain analysis is gonna pump. Michael Saylor talking about how Bitcoin is going to $10 million. Jeff Booth, they call it masterclass. Why Bitcoin is winner take all when it's obviously not winner take all. How is it winner take all when there's been no growth for BTC in the last 7 years, really, since 2017? No, even though he was one of the guys pumping Lightning Network, all these credit layer solutions, because they don't understand credit really and how monetary markets develop. They're still given the platform and the microphone. People still listen to them because popularity and this growing casino has pushed Bitcoin price up. But then the few actually like relevant platforms where they talk about this type of stuff, like the Bitcoin Takeover podcast with Vlad, who's been on here. This is what people should be watching to actually learn. Like, John's pretty smart. He was a Bitcoin maximalist, but he kind of switched his tune. Nobody's watching this. They're all just watching the hype guys on stage with suits. Yeah, everyone's looking for 100x. We are too, but it's more, this is a, like, who knows when this will pump? I think very soon. But it's something where you can take almost, very little risk and still see 100x upside. It's just nobody's going to tell you that online. Nobody's talking about it. So unless you go figure out how Bitcoin works yourself, if you experiment with it, you had to sort through a lot of nonsense. There's no way you could learn just by listening to people on YouTube. They give you the opposite information. Listening to mainstream media now. Honestly, this incentives that made mainstream media kind of irrelevant, right? Like big money wanting to promote narrating on YouTube with all the crypto influencers. So people think they can trust individuals, but they're all paid. And you're getting the same kind of like misinformation. Who are these guys? I think Livium has stake for Litecoin. I wish they would just call it lending. In crypto, we're always reinventing terms that already exist in finance. You can lend your coins, and people will pay you for that in interest. I keep pulling up the Litecoin ETH chart because this is a head and shoulders bottom with quite a bit of bullish divergence in the volume indicators. Right? You kind of have an inverse head and shoulders here on OBV. Significant higher low in OBV, but much more significant than the higher low in price. CMS starting to turn around here. Had a lot of bullish divergence. ETH's probably going to get rejected or stall out, and Litecoin's about to break out on the high time frames. So I think once this gets going, once Litecoin breaks 140, this should rally pretty quickly above these highs. And this is going to be one of the biggest changes in narratives in crypto history. Because once Litecoin starts rallying, people will go check the fundamental stats. And by that time, with the increase in speculative coins moving around, it should be very close to transaction count. And then Bitcoiners going to have to defend the one chain only argument when obviously the market's starting to move in the opposite direction. We were able to get your average down to 57 a coin. Nice. That's impressive. That's pretty good. I was like averaging in all the last few years, and then now I've just been like living off my Litecoin. It sucks. I don't know. There's no other. I don't know why more traders aren't paying attention to this. There's no other coin that's as fundamentally strong as Litecoin that has this type of compressed volatility for multiple years. And I don't know how nobody else is noticing this similar setup to Doge here, where it had this initial move up and deep retracement, and then retested that same level, it got rejected from in July 2020. Rejected again, and then broke out with this 1000% monthly candle. Really, it was like wicked to almost to 20x. I don't know why. There's far more people looking at Dogecoin here than Litecoin. This is gonna move like 10x in a short amount of time once this range breaks, in my opinion. A few months. Yeah, this has been a long drawn out consolidation. We're basically at the lows, except this deviation. Like we had this deviation below the range lows, and now reclaim. And if it's going to rally, this is gonna full send. I don't know. All the pair charts look primed. This is the same exact thing Doge BTC did before it mooned as well. in 2020. Like, same exact thing. Like, I don't know why nobody else is seeing this. But exactly what Litecoin did, right? Stayed at the bottom of this range, pumped up, deviated below, reclaimed, went sideways for a month, and then full send. That was the 20x monthly candle. And it happened so fast, by the time everyone's paying attention to it, it's already gone. But it was the same exact thing. This was like days spent, a few months underneath, deviating below the range lows. This is identical in chart structure. Right, came down here. It was slightly longer, 2 months with Dogecoin, but 3 months with Litecoin down here. And then it was like 1 month of consolidation, which it's been about 1 month here, maybe it's another 15 days. Expansion. So I don't know. There's a lot of people talking online. I just know for sure nobody's gonna tell you. Nobody was Dogecoin back here, and nobody was ready for this. Maybe like a tiny percent, but they got no views. Kind of like right now with us. And it could be any number of catalysts. ETF, a small amount of inflows can trigger momentum just because supply is so restricted. MWeb is continuing to grind higher, so more coins are being locked up. LiveVM could catalyze by marketing from them. Could catalyze a rally. But this like bid side delta is increasing here after we just grounded out this rounded bottom. It's a good sign. It's almost time. And I still think this is a running flat correction. Like ABC move up, ABC move up, 5 ways down. Could take off. LTC XRP looks ready. Alright guys, just wanted to jump on here to be consistent, but nothing's changed. Looking better by the day. So let's see what happens this week. Futures markets will open like 20 hours. No, 18. And appreciate it. I know my stream's been weird. I keep having new issues every day. It seems like there's a different thing wrong. My bit rate is like dropped off today, and so the stream was laggy. I had issues with OBS not connecting, switching between IRL and desktop. I'm hoping there's no other new problems going forward. Alright, Vachi, thank you. You know, I should, when more people, if more people start coming in here, I'll probably start every stream, desktop stream, with a recap of the fundamental analysis, looking at on-chain stats, like MWeb, transaction data, recapping the argument, the core argument, and then going to charts, high time frame and low time frame. But I don't even know what I did today. I was letting my thoughts randomly come out, but appreciate that. Alright guys, enjoy your Saturday night. I'm gonna work on something else for a bit. Appreciate it. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Do you guys think I should keep the 24/7 stream? Thanks, Master. Last question. Keep the 24/7. I think the 24/7 idea will work once price breaks out and once there's momentum, because there's a lot more people. It's easier to talk. All right, I will do that and try to make changes if I realize there are problems that I need to fix. Sweet. Just make it play off like overnight. I have like 2-hour. Should I change it every day? It's hard because the scene switching doesn't work. I wish it could just scroll through a playlist. Tomorrow I'll release the next part of this story arc, so it'll be easier once I release more things to I'll just create a 4-hour video that loops 4 different or 5, 6 different clips into one. The only solution in OBS is scene switching, like the scene switcher. I'm using this. But maybe I'll try. Let me test one thing. I'm gonna see if I'm gonna put on a clip and see if it'll auto go to the next one. Yeah, it doesn't. test the upload speed, like, it says it's way higher than what the bitrate is suggesting I have. And it was higher, like, I didn't change any settings, it was working fine. I don't know. What happened? Yeah, it's a little laggy when I'm uploading stuff simultaneously to the live stream. I know that, but then today I wasn't uploading anything. It's when I switched from streaming from IRL Toolkit, like OBS to IRL Toolkit to YouTube, and then IRL Toolkit server broke, so I just started streaming straight from OBS to YouTube. And then YouTube was capping my stream at like 480p, even though the bitrate was super high. So I switched settings, and it was working fine. Like it was, I don't know, 8B per second, kilobytes per second. And then I checked my computer after I woke up, and it was down to like 4,000, and the stream was lagging. So I don't know. It's just hard. I can't upload large files and have a stable connection. I need to upgrade my internet. I'll maybe upgrade if I don't want to invest too much. I've already paying a lot for the IRL setup. Everything combined is pretty expensive. So I'm hesitant to spend more money until I see it work. Yeah, I'll ask the ISP, but like, I don't know, I picked the best plan that they had, but I might need to upgrade. I can do that. Thanks for the advice though, thanks for the feedback and help. Could directly in, it's right next to me. I guess I could use Ethernet connection, maybe that would help. Yeah, for sure. It's mostly uploading. Actually, let me look this up. Yeah, I guess I can upgrade on here. Double my upload speed. I get up to 100 megabytes per second. That's what I'll do. Alright guys, sweet. We'll get that better internet turned on. But I'm gonna play one of these playlist or videos on repeat. Maybe I'll play this because I'm gonna release this tomorrow. Or actually, maybe the one for this Thursday.
I stay quiet, held the line, watched them laugh, but I took my time. Nobody believes me, nobody helps me, nobody calls me, nobody believes. Nobody believes me, nobody helps me, nobody calls me, nobody believed me. Built in silence, woke alone. All those nights known. Nobody believed, nobody stayed, nobody saw it, nobody believed, but I kept going, still I knew, did it for something they never knew. Nobody believes me, nobody helps me, nobody calls me, nobody believed me. Same old charts, same old lines, but something's moving this time. Can't explain it, but I feel the weight, like something's waking to wait. This This time feels different. Slow but strong. Coming all along. No flashing signs, no loud parade. Just that voice I can't erase. This time feels different. Clear my mind, don't need their words. I've seen the signs. Oh, 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 oh. They'll say a word, I'll be here once it's done. But we were here before it begun. Not just a number, not just a chart. We carry the message, we played our part. This is the story we're telling now. Not after the break, but before the power. They watched the price, we built the plan. They followed hype, we took a stand. No big announcement, no ringing bell, just code and courage. And time will tell, this is the story written in blocks, not told by headlines, but moved by the clock. Not here for the pump, here for the shit. To build, not just what drift. I saw the shit before the something changed. I couldn't prove, so I built this for the ones who wake, not to sell, but to break the faith. I saw it, so I built it, so they saw it, so they came. wasn't fast, but it was real, and it could last. I saw it, so I built it. So they saw it, so they came. Now it moves as we move along. Now it grows as we knew you. Neon eyes and subway sounds. Everyone's moving, none of them grounded. They scroll, they speak, but don't connect. 1,000 names, but none reflect. Billboard shouting practice light, but say nothing real, just shine too bright. I walk unseen through open doors in the city that forgets what for. I'm not lost, just out of frame, still breathing under all this game. They chase the flash, the filtered spark, but I'm the quiet in the dark. They passed me by, I didn't flinch. Lonely, maybe, but not convinced. Oh, 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 oh. I saw a face that looked like mine, but he was laughing just in time to miss the moment, pulling through, the one that made me stay, not move. I'm not lost, just out of frame, still breathing under all this game. They chase the flash, the filtered spark, but I'm the quiet in the dark. They passed me by, I didn't flinch. Lonely, maybe, but not convinced. Oh, 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 oh. They talk so loud, say so little. I tuned it out, I caught the signal. They talk so loud, but say so little. I tuned it out, I caught the signal. The lights dimmed and they walked away. Thought the story closed that day, but I still felt a pulse beneath, the kind you only learn in grief. They called it done, they moved along.